One of the more insidious and impotent leaders in Trump's cabinet is Pete Hegseth. Straight from Fox News via a bottle of scotch, he is now running the Department of Defense, which he has renamed the Department of War. And I believe he was put in that position because he will do whatever the fuck Trump wants. And so now Trump has bombed yet another boat that because of the lights and the motors. So CBS News tells us the U.S. struck an 8 alleged drug vessel, this time on the Pacific side of South America. U.S. officials say, here's the deal. We have no way to know whether these were drug boats because nobody investigates this. They just tell us this. And Trump is saying, I'm just going to kill people. I'm not going to ask Congress to declare war. I'm just going to kill people because that's how fucking entitled this man is. And here he says it from the Oval Office that he can do whatever he wants.
Go ahead, in the back, please.
Do you have legal authority if they do come?
Yes, we do. We have legal authority. We're allowed to do that. And if we do by land, we may go back to Congress. But we have, this is a national security problem. They killed 300,000 people last year, these drugs coming in. They killed 300,000 Americans last year, and that gives you legal authority. We have a national security, really, I will say this, when you look at the people we're dealing with, and we know them, we know the people coming in, we know the boats, we know everything else, we're allowed to do it. It's in international waters. If we don't do it, we're going to lose hundreds of thousands of people. Now,
I mean, by his logic, this boat killed 300,000 people. It makes no sense. And there's no evidence. That's what kills me is there's no due process and there's zero evidence.
Well, his argument is he's claiming falsely that drugs from Colombia or whatever country this was killed 300,000 Americans. If he wants to have an honest conversation about addiction and an honest conversation about fatalities in the United States surrounding addiction, you must have a conversation about the pharmaceutical industry with that as well. And all of the legal subscribing of opiates, benzodiazepines, and stimulants like Adderall and all of these other things that are just written why all of these billionaires that are big Trump supporters profit while people die, while people's kids die, while people's spouses die, while people's family members die. So if you want to have an honest conversation about addiction, let's do it. But this isn't the right way. Of course, a country should prevent any form of illegal drugs coming into their country. Everybody wants that. Nobody wants boats bombed indiscriminately without evidence and violating criminal law. But he said something in that clip that is very alarming to me. And he said, by land.
Yeah.
And what he's preparing for and what these boat strikes are priming the public that we are going to have boots on the ground somewhere in Central America, probably Venezuela. And that was the more alarming thing that he said there. So now I know what these boat strikes are about. They're priming the public that we are going to go to war against cartels. And we're going to go into Venezuela and do a regime change because probably a lot of people surrounding him are going to make billions of dollars doing that. When you get into the military industrial complex, private security, et cetera, et cetera. But that by land portion of that was the most alarming aspect for me. And for me, painted the picture as to why we're indiscriminately bombing boats. And it's what authoritarians do. We're priming the public for the next stage.
Right. And let's not forget that Trump was the lead voice in we can't do regime change. We've got to get out of Afghanistan. The U.S. can't do this. And he's doing this. And I believe around the midterms because of elections. It's another way to keep people in line about elections. But it's interesting to me that Rand Paul, who is the grossest, I mean, the absolute grossest, kisses Trump's ass, gets his feelings hurt if he's not invited to the Easter egg roll at the White House. He is sitting there saying, we can't do this. This is not legal. The Constitution requires due process. That's pretty stark to me. 2 people survived one of the recent boat strikes. They were not detained, not checked for drugs, not prosecuted. They were sent back to be tried in their own country. If the strike was based on the assumption that the boat was carrying drugs and the survivors weren't even investigated, do we suspect government simply did not have enough proof in the first place? The Constitution requires Congress to authorize war. Until then, treat this as law enforcement, not warfare. Lesson to be learned. Adhering to due process prevents chaos and protects the Fourth Amendment. You don't maintain order by abandoning the Constitution. And it's interesting because I feel like he has crystal clear clarity that the best democracies have the most efficient government because they're run by laws. And then he will turn around and vote for Trump policies and do whatever Trump wants when it comes time to actually stopping Trump. So he does point out the obvious and the reality, but he's eager to go back and get in line when it comes to voting against Trump and his policies.
Well, this is the modern day MAGA movement. Marjorie Taylor Greene steps out and has some criticism, but then she knows how to salute to dear leader and to keep the cultists in line and surrounding her. To me, you know, Rand Paul is a part of an overall optics of fissures that are happening in the MAGA movement. You have people that have a problem with the boat strikes like Rand Paul, and you have people that have a problem with the blank checks to Israel like Marjorie Taylor Greene. You have the podcasters in the MAGA movement fissuring out and realizing that maybe they had made a mistake. You have the Latinos for Trump who played a stupid game and won a stupid prize, and they themselves are getting deported, or people they love are getting deported. And so I think the larger message that I'm hopeful that Democrats can step in here is that this whole thing happened because government wasn't providing the most people the most solutions. Government was providing solutions to people who wanted loopholes, tax loopholes, and their businesses to be deregulated so they could maximize profits. And there is a vacuum here, and it will be filled by MAGA grifters, or it could be filled by FDR-style Democrats that want to go in and govern popularly with programs that benefit the most people, programs that are wildly popular with the public. And when you see triple Trumpers that cross over from voting for Trump 3 times, cross over and vote for a Democratic socialist named Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Zohran Mamdani, the through line through all of that is the government under corporate Dems or MAGA fascists has failed people. And so with the Rand Paul thing, I just see this as an ongoing sign of the fissures within the MAGA movement. They all go out and they dip their toes in the water.
Right.
What's it going to be like if I stand up to Trump? And then they go back over to the cult. At some point between now and midterms, they're either going to fully capitulate to all of the lawlessness, or some of these fissures are going to start uniting. And so it's going to be interesting to watch. But Rand Paul's right. I mean, you know, sometimes assholes have moments of clarity.
Right. Even these assholes have moments of clarity. One thing that really struck me is Pete Hegseth. Everybody watching knows he disrespects the military. That whole general thing where he came in, you could just see by the look on their faces. I mean, they're serious people that took an oath to the Constitution, that protect a higher ideal than Donald Trump. So I found it interesting that a right-wing news outlet reports this about Pete Hegseth. So the Washington Times, it's as right-wing as you can get.
Oh, yeah.
And it says, he lost us. Generals, senior officers say trust in Hegseth has evaporated. My question would be, why did you ever have it? Secretary's critics worry Pentagon at risk of enduring damage amid firings, resignation, and early retirements of high-ranking staff. No shit. No shit this is happening. He's incompetent. Everybody around him is incompetent. If you're competent and care about the Constitution, you're out. But again, about the fissures, the Washington Times.
This is a trend that we're seeing, and people can go along. Oh, we won. That's exciting. It's exciting when your team wins. So they won 2.0, right? And they're like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Well, Trump, the Project 2025 and all the authoritarian stuff was always the point. We saw that from the get-go. A lot of his supporters are now seeing that maybe wanted lower egg prices, or they like, beating up on, they like being racist, or, they like being closeted, or whatever their dysfunction is, right? Like their tax breaks. And these fissures that are forming, it's going to be super important. I wish we had really staunch Democratic leadership right now that could start building alliances. But I just don't see that so much right now. Now, I remember this, you probably remember this, Pumps, this tweet from Swalwell about if the Epstein files are released. Something like that, some big break could unite a lot of these fissures, but they know it. The people in the MAGA regime that are in power right now, they know it. That's why they're moving so fast and so brazenly, because they know one little thing could completely halt their desire to keep Kanks in office permanently. And then, we have to sit around and wait for him to leave in a body bag, Right. And so I agree with you that Washington Times is rather interesting, but it goes to the larger trend of people will go along with some stuff, but not all of it. Not all of it. And the people in the military are serious about the military. And Pete Hegseth is an absolute joke of a person. He would never have a job anywhere except for Fox News or in the MAGA regime. Outside of those two entities, maybe he could get a job at My Pillow Factory. Other than that, that's the end of it.
Yeah, no. And I have read, Jennifer, that it is the intention of the Republicans, i.e. Mike Johnson, to keep the government shut down through the first of the year to avoid the Epstein files. Yes. I mean, they are willing to fuck all these federal workers so that Trump's ass can stay clean. And that's stunning. And I think the American people are wise to that. So please like this video, subscribe to our channel. A great way to support us is to buy our book, which is pinned below in the show notes. It's also available on audio, and we will be back with more news.